All right, guys, welcome to day 3 of the episode 23 of the Duck Chronicles. As you can see, we've thawed out enough to put fresh water in all the pools, and you know, they haven't been in there much since I did that. They're kind of tuckered out. This is where they were yesterday, and I've thrown a little bit of cover crop seed down. Actually, this is where their pool was yesterday, and we moved their house from like right where that my grandson's toy truck is up to there. So today they're going to probably move just in front of that dirt spot, or just to the other side of that dirt spot behind it from my view. So everybody's already had an eventful morning. It's time to rest and eat grass. And it almost sounds like they're sneezing when they're tearing at the little shards of grass. And I wanted to tell you something about why grazing grass is different than mowing it. When these guys go down there and they get that little piece of grass and they yank it like that, they create a tear. And just like a tree, if you cut it a certain way, will tend to coppice back. Grass, when you tear it like that, tends to send out multiple swords, almost like nature knows what she's doing or something. And it actually increases the thickness and lushness of the grass, assuming you don't overgraze it. And just frankly, as little as these guys are eating and as fast as the grass grows in this area this time of year, they're not going to overgraze it. So that's why they're here. That's why they've been given the best piece. The other thing is, part of why this area does so well is my septic leach field is right underneath my feet right now, and it runs just to my, just to this side of that tree, and it runs out. See that chair knocked over there? Just inside that chair, and then right about here. So this area is really resilient because it's constantly being recharged as a drain field for septic. I can't imagine how hard that was to put in given the soil conditions here. I'm glad I didn't have to pay for it. And it's probably good that it was done back in 1979 because it probably cost a lot less back then to do. So this area is really resilient, and they're pretty much without any confinement right now. They're sticking to about, from the porch over to those trees, over the telephone pole, over that tree, and then right at the edge of the garden all by themselves, just because they're still a little bit timid. So they're only grazing lightly because they're much smaller, and they're only grazing the area that can handle it and that we can easily water if we get a dry spell or anything like that. And a couple of them figured out that the rocks hold heat. You guys are smarter than the rest. I guess you're the A team of 2, and that's the B team of 48 over there. But so that's why we have them here, and we're probably at a point where one more week of the adult ducks out there, and we're going to go see them in a minute, that we're going to bring the adults back in here for at least a week because the area can't handle it. And there's a lot of stuff that's not being grazed way over there, all around the backside, the top half of the food forest, all through there. The little ducks aren't going in there. And my hope is we can have a gentle integration. As we've brought the adult ducks through the young ducks, they've had no animosity towards each other. The geese, when we brought them through, did, but the ducks are pretty happy. Where'd your buddy go? Did they leave you? Huh? Did you get left behind? You gotta go get everybody else? Huh? Sometimes the smart don't pay off, does it, honey? I was like, come on, guys, it's all warm over there. No, we like it here. Anyway, so what I'm hoping is we can bring the adult ducks in. These guys will have another week of growth on them, and you know how fast that goes. And that if they're together for a week, we can just start kind of easing the flock together without having to do it all in one square jerk. But let's go see the muscovies, because I got big news about the muscovies. There's a hen muscovy coming out. She might have laid an egg. We got 17 eggs this morning so far. That's a good egg count for our flock. We're pretty happy about it. It's like as soon as we switched to this paddock shift, the egg count just, went up by, God, I guess it's 45%. Let's see if she laid in here. We got number 18 yet today. And it doesn't look like it, but when Dorothy comes in here and checks her eggs, she really digs through this straw because they do bury them. Anyway, the big news is that the gentleman that sold me these muscovies, hey guys, you're getting new friends, is selling me 6 more hens and 1 drake tonight. So this afternoon when I get done with my podcast, and for those that only watch this stuff on YouTube, I do have a podcast at the survivalpodcast.com. That's Esteban the Rooster Crone back there. I'm going to head up about 15 miles north of here and pick up 6 more of you guys a little girl, and so the Muscovy flock's expanding, and we'll talk a lot more about them in the future because they have a lot going for them, especially for you guys that live in the city. You hear that sound? That's as loud as they get right there. And that's a communication. That's a head drake there, and he's telling the girls what to do about the fact that I'm here. And I'd say he's the dominant drake out of the two drakes right now. That big black one in the back, he seems to be really happy to take the number 2 position. But he's the one that always escorts the girls when they go somewhere. Anyway, big news. New Muscovy's coming. Let us go up front. Got a couple more things to show you here. I did not fence in Buddy and Joe yet for the night, but they don't really need to be fenced in. I'm just keeping them over here in this west paddock. The main goose flock gets fenced in their holding area. There's Buddy and Joe swimming and probably mating. They've been doing a lot of that lately. Make us new gooses. And you can see I brought the other big kiddie pool over here so that both mated pairs had a pool to work with for morning activities. We'll leave it at that since kids watch. To make more geese because they get very competitive over resources. And as you can see, they're really not cool with each other. They've just decided that we're our little band and you're your band. And there's one goose with them that doesn't really want to be there. But you can see we moved her eggs here. And so hopefully that'll encourage her to use this area as her laying area. And it's just 4 straw bales backed up against the chicken house. Nice warm shelter. And I can't see her not using it. Every time we've ever done anything like that, they've adapted to it quite readily. Just got a little more for you today and we'll wrap up. I have a really cool mount for this phone that sits on my shoulder like a real camera. I need to start using. A good friend named Kelly Herron, who's a Hollywood video producer, gave it to me. I'll try to get that out today and start using it for you. Maybe get you a little bit more stability here. And I've learned not to do this with the camera. You guys told me and I've listened. I'm making the image as good as I can for an iPhone. And the truth is, the iPhone is what makes this all possible. I don't have time to be editing video and downloading stuff. The fact that I can shoot this and upload it makes doing this every day possible. So I want to show you this. Not everything we put in is edible. This is a weeping willow. And we found this at Lowe's. And I want to give you a little tip here. This tree, as you can see here, $23.98. And it's a nice looking well-shaped willow tree. They had another one that was $59 because it was a larger size, air quotes. Yeah, larger size. It was in a bigger pot. It was the exact same size tree. We set them beside each other, and Dorothy and I could not tell the difference of the size of the pot. And really all a bigger pot gets you is likely more bound up, more circling roots, because it had a bigger root system when they potted it up. This is a good time of year to buy your potted trees, by the way, because the nurseries are digging them out of the ground, pruning the roots and sticking them in a pot. The longer you wait, the longer that tree's in the pot, the more those roots start to go in circles and the more entangling you got to do to plant it right. But I just want to point out, we put a willow tree in here. One, because Dorothy likes willows, but this is a weeping willow. So this will get huge and be this big, draping, beautiful willow tree. And what will it be? It will be a beautiful place for these guys to rest in the sun in the summertime. So they'll be able to get in the shade here. So that's why I put that willow here. And we're thinking about how that now integrates with the rest of the design. Do we maybe move the living fence forward since it's the sun side? Or do we go something more shade tolerant and put it to the rear like we originally planned? Or do we maybe keep the fencing? We've decided we don't really hate the fence at all. And if we put some shrubbery behind it and in front of it, it really starts to kind of disappear. The other thing is, you can see Dorothy put some little string lights on here. These are like 100 count lights or something like that. They're like 40 foot long. And they're solar. And they're just white. And they're like a blue hot white. And they're really pretty. And she wants me to get her a bunch more. And she wants to do them like every line of the fence. I don't know if I got that in me, but I'll let her do as much as she wants. She tolerates me, so she gets a lot of leeway. I just want to come over here real quick here at the end. Talk about this area. This is a very hard area to repair, and we're working on it. It's like a big bowl. And this is one of those spots where you dig 2 inches and you're sitting on that white rock slab. And you might think this looks pretty bad to you. This looks beautiful to me, and I'll show you why. This little plant right here. This is Birdsfoot Trefoil. It is a perennial legume, kind of like a clover, but it's a lot hardier. It's not supposed to be so hardy here in the south, but I tried everything and it's doing well. And I put down about 10 times as much seed in this area last year as you're supposed to when you're putting this plant in, plus other seeds. I figured whatever was strongest would live. Well, this year it's come back on its own and it's in clumps all over the place. And that means I have a pioneering perennial legume nitrogen fixer in this area, and it all gets easier from here. And look at this flooded area. So what I've done, I've left that water run, filling up that last pool, to flood this area out. And these guys are going to infiltrate this water. I need to go shut it off because this video ran a little longer than I planned. But I want you to think about this. When they're done here and I seed this, how can that not work? Now, I can either do that work or I can put the adults to work for me. We'll catch up with you tomorrow with episode 24.